Hello, everyone. Welcome to the eDiscovery channel. We got a special edition this week in honor of, well, nothing in particular. It's in honor of we dodged another hurricane in New Orleans here. And now we have one that was a tropical wave that started outside of, along the Gulf, few hundred miles past New Orleans last week, was pushed aside by Hurricane Sally as it was coming in and wandered down to the Yucatan Peninsula, has now picked up steam and is going to become a tropical storm or a hurricane in the next day or so, and it turned around and headed back our way. So it's done like a back turn in the Gulf of Mexico and is going to come up here. They are predicting that, though, in the wonderful world of ain't no reason with hurricane season, to quote that great meteorologist, James W. Buffett. They say it's going to come up about halfway towards New Orleans and then take a 90-degree left turn and go into Texas, South Texas. So we're all kind of like, we'll believe that one. Yeah. It's that time of year. So in honor of hurricane season in New Orleans, I thought it was time for me to do an interview with Hurricane Gayle, the major tropical force in my life. And we've talked about it to a lot of people. This is kind of the off week for Rocky and I. Rocky and I do every other week. And if you haven't seen it this past week, we interviewed Mary Pat Poteet, and her interview is up on the eDiscovery channel on YouTube. Thanks to the good graces of my very special guest, Ms. Gayle-O'Connor.
Yours truly.
That's right. So Gayle, you're a marketer par excellence, and
some would say.
well, I would say, and you would say, and really, since we're the only two people here, who else counts, right?
Right.
If Browning were here, Browning would say it too.
Okay.
So I want to ask you just, some of your comments about, for people about marketing in the COVID environment, the whole working from home environment. You've been a big proponent of social media. Speaking of hurricanes, I don't know if you can see the clouds going across my face, darkening every moment or two there. There's clouds going across the back of my window. I feel like I should be looking over my shoulder to see if Godzilla is looming outside there. You've been a proponent, of course, of social media as a marketing tool, even a guerrilla marketing tool, if you will, for many, many years. And you've taken some small unknown companies and brought them to prominence with that strategy. But now it's become more of a necessity. I think we don't have in-person events. We don't have people going to conferences. What's your take on it? How can people really best utilize social media and marketing, or in their marketing strategy these days?
Well, I think with the advent of COVID-19 in the beginning, everyone was very, very stressed out. It was what's happening to the world, and nobody really wanted to sell their products, because how can you sell a piece of software when everyone's concern was more about, are they going to have food on the table, and are they going to have a place to work? Are they going to have a job? So selling a piece of software almost became secondary. It was more kind of be quiet and wait until things settled down before you could really put out what you're selling and feel good about it. Everything you wanted to say was, I'm sorry you're in the situation you're in. So social media kind of slowed down at the beginning of COVID, and people were paying more attention to the social media that was coming out about COVID. And now that it's been around a while, and people always call it the new norm, I call it the new different. I don't consider this normal. This is not normal. So my term is the new different. Now that things have settled down, so the difference I think in social media is it's so much more important for me being on the end of putting social media out there. But if people comment or leave notices, or it's their birthday or it's their anniversary, it's really important to take note of that and respond to those. If somebody says has a different opinion than what happens to be in the post, definitely respond to that. Let them know that they're not commenting to Nowheresville. That becomes a lot more important. And content is still king. And having posts about things that a lot of people are posting about COVID, and it's not their specialty. I think we should leave the COVID-19 posts to those who know about COVID-19 and stick with what you know.
Okay. So that brings up a good point, that distinction between um, professional and personal, if you will. And of course, in our business, personal contacts are everything, and they merge quite a bit. Again, without that social in your face type of exposure, without really conferences, let's face it, we rely in our profession on things like legal tech, the ABA tech show, and putting these sort of in chronological order from beginning of the year to the end, the ILTA, and then Relativity Fest, and maybe CleoCon, and by November we get up to the Georgetown Advanced E-Discovery Institute that's held every year in DC. But there's
Right.
milestones that we look forward to and plan for, seeing people doing campaigns around that. Now, without that, I guess the one of the alternatives that comes to mind for keeping those alive, and it's something I know you're a big fan of, is the lunchtime meeting that Ari Kaplan does every day, a big Zoom meeting that is, sometimes he has a specific topic, but other times it's just, what do people want to talk about? And I think it started, as you said, it started almost in the beginning, and correct me if I'm wrong, as like you have any problem with correcting me if I'm wrong.
If you need to be corrected, I will correct you.
I don't know why I even said that. That goes
I will correct you if you're wrong.
Yeah, I withdraw the question, Your Honor. But didn't Ari start that almost as we're stuck in this, COVID environment, and people are really distressed, and let's at least have a meeting place to get together and talk. And now it's spun off into some professional topics as things have gone along. And he's had some other events that he does that are more spin-offs of that. Is that a fair statement?
That's a totally fair statement. He started it off just to have somewhere where we could all get together and talk what's on our mind, what's on the foremost of our minds. And we have a regular group that appears that I see every day, and it's lent a real sense. Sorry about that.
Here's one of your fans now.
There's one of my fans now. Sorry about that.
So we'll come back to that point about tips for social media and Zoom conferences.
But when I get on every day, it's every day at noon Eastern time, and that would be 11 o'clock my time, and it's called the virtual lunch. And sure enough, we have a pretty much standard group of people, and it's maybe 15 people who are on almost every day. And he will also have some days where he invites somebody who is well known in the profession
Right.
to speak, like to talk about, how they built Case Point, like we had the Case Point founder on there. And then we'll have days where we just chat, and the chat just kind of rolls out of what's on everybody's mind. We had a whole day talking about Pelotons, and how you can have your friends on Peloton and see them through some magic app that goes with Peloton.
Yep.
So every day it centers me. It centers me seeing these people, and I've gotten to know them so well. I have had a lot of one-on-ones. I call it coffee talk, and I'll just invite somebody from the virtual lunch to have a one-on-one conversation, see how we can maybe help each other, network with each other. And I have gotten some work, as a matter of fact, from networking with some of these people. And it truly is something that brings some sort of normalcy to my day. It's something I
Right.
can count on every day.
And I see
And
that you do that. You are pretty, I wouldn't say religious about it, but it's an important part of your day. If I happen to call you or we're working on something and say, hey, I gotta jump onto my call with Ari and the gang.
it is. It truly does. And when I'm not there, I actually have people say, we missed you yesterday.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a almost like I'm working with these people, where you see them in the lunchroom at work and say,
Yep.
hi, how's it going? It kind of brings that flavor to it. It's a very casual, very warm
Yeah.
feeling.
And I've seen a few other similar type groups spring up. I know the EDRM people do one. I think is that the one they call Wine Wednesday? I never really
Wine
followed.
Wednesday is put out by Rogo Rosinski,
Yep.
Melissa.
Melissa
And
Rogozinski. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that
Okay.
happens every Wednesday at 5, and it's
Yeah.
wine on Wednesday, and everybody brings a glass of wine and just
Yeah.
chats.
And I
And
know that EDRM does one or even two a week, but the point is other people are picking up on this and realizing it's a way to kind of do both, as you said,
right,
and have a social reinforcement that we're really
that,
lacking so much.
that we really lack in this
Yeah. Yeah.
time. I mean, I feel that my life has so completely done a 180 being an extrovert. I don't get to do all the things that make my life complete. It's the
Yeah.
bottom line.
Yeah.
And this is something that puts a sense of normalcy in my day.
And I
Something
will
else I
say,
do.
oh,
Oh,
go ahead. Go ahead.
well, I was going to say something else that I do on a daily basis is I get up and I shower and I get dressed. And I get dressed as if I were going to an office.
Yeah.
Some people may not agree with what I wear, but but usually I look like I'm going to an office. And it just puts me in the work mode, puts me in a different mode than if I were to get out of bed and put on a nice shirt on the top and have a pair of boxers on the bottom. It just, to me, that isn't how you should approach your work day. And so getting up, getting dressed, taking a shower, and being ready to hit the day with the ground running, being dressed for it, makes a difference for me.
I, of course, am wearing my boxer shorts, and as again, our old friend Browning
I
used
knew
to say,
that. I knew
Browning
that.
used to
That's
say,
why I said that.
I'm sitting here in my bunny slippers, which was his code word for sitting there in his boxer shorts. But you bring up a good point, though, because part of it is, and this is a bit of an irritant to me. I'll do a business call or even a webinar, and people are like sitting in their kitchen with the pots and pans behind them, and maybe the empty bottle of wine from the night before sitting on the shelf behind them, or
Thank God for virtual backgrounds. That's
yes,
what I have to
exactly.
say.
I mean,
And
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
there was a story of a woman who appeared before a judge, and she appeared from her bed, and she was in her pajamas and actually appeared for a motion hearing or something in front
Yeah.
of a judge, and the judge admonished her for this,
Yeah.
for
Apparently,
this
she didn't
behavior.
realize there was a camera that was on.
Yeah,
But that brings
yeah.
up a second point, though, is if you don't want to be seen, you can still participate. Well, we could turn the video off here and
You
have
can certainly turn the video off, and you can also put up exactly like that, exactly, or you can put up a QR code, which is your access to your LinkedIn profile.
Right,
So you can still have
right.
people scanning with their cell phones and scan your QR code.
Understand people should, go the extra mile to, I don't even think it's an extra mile. Understand the platform that you're in now. Um,
Exactly.
I know
Exactly.
that at the ILTA On conference this year, the virtual ILTA conference, they did a couple things that I thought were great. One of them was they had um, what they called hallways, and they were just
Mhm.
other Zoom rooms where you could go and hang out, and they also had water cooler breaks. And so they were basically setting up chats for people to do. And then some of the sessions where they had very high attendance, they broke them out into 4 or 5 focus groups,
Correct.
which was
Yep.
something you couldn't even do if you were live.
Right.
You were able to break
Right.
it out into focus groups and talk and then come back in. And, you know, that was great. Something that I was astonished that more vendors didn't take advantage of this. And perhaps they didn't think it through. They also had their virtual exhibit hall, had
Yeah.
had a chat button on Zoom. So you could open up a Zoom chat with somebody who was there. And a remarkably small number of vendors took advantage of that.
That's
Um,
the only way to do it, because otherwise you're spending thousands of dollars on nothing.
yes,
Um,
it was
I've,
really
I've,
surprising to me that people had a Zoom chat available to them where if somebody took the time to click on that, that meant they wanted to talk to you. Um,
and
and
no one would be at the other end.
no, which is
Right.
even, well, it's like walking up to their booth and there's nobody there.
Well,
Um,
then you could grab all the free zebras you wanted.
Fortunately, there were no virtual tchotchkes. There
No
were,
virtual tchotchkes.
yes, there were documents, and a lot of people took advantage of that to have white papers and links to their website. But
Right.
again, of course, it was the first one, and they had to turn on a dime to do that. Great
Yeah.
kudos to Joy and her staff there for pulling that together. I thought it was really well done. I just think you got to be more creative and think about it. How many times do we get on a Zoom call and somebody's turn off the mute button?
Turn
Turn
off
off.
the mute button. Yeah.
So you know,
Gee, that's never happened to me.
no, I don't. I hardly ever do that. Or you turn the camera on when you didn't mean to, and as you said, you're sitting there and you know, you're
Fixing the
like
hair.
Grateful Dead concert with my sideshow Bob hairdo going on. So yeah, I think it's important to know that. But that brings up that. Let's talk about that a minute, though. Virtual conferences, yes or no? What do you think? We've got another one
Virtual
starting.
conferences as an attendee, because I truly believe so much of the legal field in itself, the legal profession, is relationship based. And even having an exhibit booth at at conferences before COVID was difficult,
Yeah,
to say the least.
yeah,
You know, you want your ROI to show in the number of visitors you got at your booth, so you have to be creative and get those people to come by your booth. So having them come by in a virtual environment is practically non-existent from everything that I've heard. And we're still going to
but
have to
again,
work on that. I'm
I'm
sorry,
not
what?
sure I'm not sure that that's accurate, or that people didn't realize it. I thought I was told by the people at ILTA that they were providing a list every day of who hit the site to the vendors. Now, maybe they didn't get traffic, maybe people weren't going, but I think you've got to be able to capitalize on that on that technology. It's
Yeah,
not
we
the
talked about it a lot at on Ari's lunch,
yeah.
and the few people that were on Ari's lunch that did go to ILTA on were disappointed in the
Well,
exhibit
I
hall
will say part of
situation.
it was, in my estimation, they didn't push it enough until about the second day because they didn't call it an exhibit hall. They called it the Solution Center, but they didn't put out there, hey, if you're looking for the exhibitors, the vendors, they're now in this tab up here called
Right.
Solution Center. And if you go there, you can chat with them. You can, you've got a push that, and quite frankly, the vendors could have done some of this themselves, send out emailing to people saying, come see us
Right.
in the Solution Center. Be sure to click on the tab. It was easy to scroll down and find all.
Right.
And so I think, again,
I,
first
yeah.
experience, negatives on each side, but all in all, I thought that the positives that could have developed there were really interesting, and you could be really creative with how how you wanted to think about doing demos. Hey, we're going to do a demo in a chat room in Zoom every day at 10 and 2.
At 10 o'clock, exactly. Exactly. I
How
think
hard it
that,
is to do it.
the beginning of these virtual conferences is certainly showing its skin.
Yeah,
It's going to take some practice. It's going to take some real out of the box thinking
yeah.
to get people to come to your booth.
You know,
Um,
you know how hard it is to do a demo in a booth. You've got a
right. Well,
narrow
this you've got
area, and
to,
you got people
in a
standing
situation like
around.
this,
Yeah,
yeah, a situation like this, you'd have, it'd be golden because there'd
yeah,
be nobody else butting
exactly,
in or looking over their
exactly.
shoulder or coming in halfway through.
And
You've
each
got a,
person could send a chat question to you, which you could be sure to answer. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
it seemed to
you
me
could
you could
just open a
really,
chat.
yeah,
Exactly,
you could
exactly.
pivot
And
this to
people could,
your advantage. I'm real curious. Um, we're filming this on Friday, the 18th. This coming Monday and Tuesday, of course, Relativity Fest
Relativity Fest.
virtual. So
Right.
I'm really curious to see how they handle things and how that goes.
Yeah, and I've already had people saying to me, let me know where you're going to be so I can come and chat with you.
Exactly.
Tell me
Exactly.
when
I
you're going to be
think
in the hall. And
as we get a couple more of these under our belt, people are going to be more comfortable with it and pivot and use the technology better. So
exactly,
uh,
exactly.
we've got Relativity Fest, of course. I think GleoCon is going to be virtual. Um, I believe the ACC is, if not totally virtual, a split of some sort. Um, and I know the Georgetown Institute in November, they are going to be virtual. So it's, yeah, I think as we get a few more of these under our belt and get comfortable with them, we'll be able to.
And there could be even a way that people who came to visit your booth could get tchotchkes. You could package together as a company. You could package together some of your tchotchkes and send them out to them as a thank you for stopping by your booth.
Or
And I don't know
as
of
you've
anybody
always
who is
done,
doing that.
you want a zebra, you gotta, you want an EDT zebra, you gotta do a demo. You gotta sign
Exactly.
up for my mailing list. You gotta
Signed
sign
up
up
for
for
my
my
newsletter.
newsletter.
Right, right.
There's no reason you
So
couldn't do that. And as you said, then pass them along. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about, and it's one you and I talk about all the time, and you alluded to it at the beginning. There have been a number of um, um, articles about this recently, the mental health issues. I was
Mm,
actually asked by David Horrigan. I filmed a on-demand video with several other people that's going to be at Relativity Fest next week on mental health 101 for lawyers. And so it's a big topic.
big
You
topic.
know, well, yeah, I mean, as I've said to you a couple of times, if Michelle Obama gets on TV and says, I'm depressed, I think we can count on that being true for everybody. In the legal profession, the ABA did a survey about a year and a half ago. They found something like just under 30% of lawyers in the United States, legal professionals, are depressed just as a matter of course, pre-COVID, right?
Right,
God knows
right.
what that number is now. We do know that we've seen a significant amount of increases in requests for counseling at the different bar associations. Um, uh, Unfortunately, a significant increase in admissions to treatment centers for alcohol or drug abuse.
For
It's just
alcoholism,
yeah, yeah, it's a big.
increases in domestic violence.
And yes, that's unfortunately the other ugly side of it. Um,
Hmm.
there was a great article that was reprinted by Mike McBride, who's a consultant who lives up the road in Baton Rouge. He works with the company now. I don't want to say the wrong one. He works for a major software company in our space. But Mike's also real concerned with mental health issues. Um, he did he reposted an article. It was on Inc.com.
Hmm.
Four things leaders should be doing right now is the title if you want to Google it, anybody. And the four things we're talk about it. Watch out. This is interesting. Watch out for digital overload. You know, we've all learned about, too much social media, too much time on the computer. Now that this even reinforces that even more. So try to give yourself time to take that walk, to go out. They talked about good communications, and then, as you said at the beginning, Gayle, treat this as an office. Not only do you shower and go to the office in the morning, but leave the office at
Leave
night.
the office.
Don't
Get up
sit.
at 5 o'clock and be done with it.
Yeah.
And don't go back to it and check your email just because you can.
Yes.
When COVID first hit, it was a novelty. It's not going to last long. We kept hearing, oh, it's just going to, disappear. And obviously that didn't happen. And I went pretty far down as far as depression.
Yeah.
I'm an extrovert. I like going out. I like hearing music. I like going to festivals. I like meeting new people, all the things that COVID doesn't allow me. And I ended up calling a helpline to get some information on what I think I already knew I should be doing and wasn't doing, but hearing it from somebody else who's a professional, telling me that I need to get out and walk. I need to treat my business day as a business day. I got, all the things that you just said. I got that kind of information from them, and it made me feel a lot more okay about where I was, because I was definitely at my wit's end. And this
Yeah.
was probably about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And, every day I want it to be gone. I feel like my life has been pulled out from under me. And other extroverts in the audience, I'm sure can understand where I'm coming from, where your life just doesn't feel complete.
That's one of the things we, not just you and I, but all sorts of people came to New Orleans for. The food, the
Right.
music, and the people.
The people, the food, the music, the festivals,
Yes.
the the foreigners, the tourists, the shopping. Unfortunately, I found shopping online, which is probably not a good thing, but it keeps me happy. And
but it's true. We are social people, and you're far more of an extrovert than I am. Of course, I've got two friends. I think I'm booked solid for the next year. So
that's why the RE thing. That's why the RE virtual lunch, I think, is so important to me. Is it makes me feel like I'm seeing friends every day.
Yes.
I've got a couple friends in my bubble, and other than that, I just hope and pray that people do the right thing to get this virus behind us.
Well, yes, we're all praying for that, of course. One thing that's important though is to reach out, as you said, to call.
Reach out.
There's a ton of hotlines out there right now. There's also a ton of services online for counseling, or if you're fortunate to have medical insurance, that are covered by medical insurance. So you can have, I'm sure everyone has seen, online visits from doctors, online visits regarding COVID.
Right.
I'm covered by Humana, and they send me things constantly. Do you need to talk to somebody about something? Here's a number. Here's an URL. Go to this website or call this number. So I think avail yourself.
Thank God. Thank God they have that.
Yes. I mean,
because
we shouldn't be afraid to reach out to professionals.
Right.
This isn't something that's, I think, self-help.
This is not normal. This is not normal. It's different.
It's not a self-help environment. There's nothing wrong with asking professionals for help. Along those lines, for the lawyers, for the legal professionals, I also advise them to check with their bar association.
Yeah, the bar associations have their own internal person to help out with that.
Many do.
Whether it be alcoholism or depression or,
you have to check your bar to see if they have one. I think
Yep.
it may only be about 35 or so that have them now. They're usually called lawyer. It's usually called a
Lawyer support,
lawyer's assistant program. And
lawyer's assistant program. Right.
in some
Right.
states now, it's called, including ours, Louisiana, it's called the Judges and Lawyers Assistance Program. They
Yeah.
were designed originally for alcohol and drug abuse problems. They are confidential. You're not going to get reported to the bar for anything you discuss with them. Um,
Right.
and in light of that ABA survey I mentioned, they extended it to basically mental health care and services. They've realized that it's not just
Right.
drinking or perhaps substance abuse, that those can be symptoms of
The legal field can be so full of stress. I mean, you've got 8,000 things that you've got to keep your finger in the pulse on, and 8,000 deadlines. And nowadays you're working at home, so you don't, if a lot of you are working at home, you don't have, this at your fingertips or that at your fingertips. You've got to do everything yourself. If your printer jams, you're fixing it. If you run out of paper, guess what? It's all, you're the only one to blame. So there so many things that you have to pay attention to keep your practice going.
Yeah.
And that can be overwhelming. That can
Yeah.
be overwhelming, plus the stress of keeping your clients happy. So, and
Yeah,
nowhere to go with your wife for a nice dinner, or your spouse for a nice dinner and a glass of wine to unwind from your day.
yes.
You're 2 feet away from your office, and you've got to get out of that mindset. Oh, I've got to finish that. I got to finish that. It's
Yep.
going to make you crazy. Make you crazy.
So the big buzzword in legal now has become wellness. It's a wellness
Yes.
issue. It isn't a substance abuse issue. It's an overall wellness issue.
Yep.
And I think at least as far as I'm aware, I'm not sure if this was the first one or if it even is the only one, but Heidi Alexander in Massachusetts, who was one of the co-chairs of last year's ABA, actually this year's, the 2020 ABA Tech Show, was with the Lawyers Assistance Program in Massachusetts, and she then was appointed to be the director. And Heidi, excuse me, I don't have the specific name, but the SJC, the Supreme Judicial Court of Massachusetts, which is the state Supreme Court, established a committee on wellness for attorneys and tapped Heidi to run that program. So it's expanded beyond just the alcohol or substance abuse issue. So there
Well,
are
hopefully we'll see that in other states
yes,
coming aboard.
I'm hoping that's a first tier for others. But the point is, you can reach out to these people and be assured of confidentiality and get some questions answered, get some resources. It is really tough. I make light of it because I'm not as much of an extrovert as you. But yeah, when you're sitting here in your office, which is just down the hallway from your home,
Right.
I have a very short commute, so that's good. You can't be stuck in the same place constantly, especially with lack of people. We're both fortunate, you and I, because we live in a really nice residential neighborhood where we can walk around, see
Exactly.
our neighbors.
And it's important to do that, to get up and walk around, to stop for half an hour a day and get yourself something nutritious to eat.
Yep.
Don't just sit there all day and
we
keep
can
your
get
fingers
out and walk
hunched over the
There's 5 or 6
keyboard.
restaurants near us that are open for takeout, so you can get some of the good food that we always used to get.
Yep.
And say hi to your neighbors. Have some social relations with people, even if it's a hi, how you doing, what's going
Exactly.
on.
Exactly.
The biggest greeting in my neighborhood as I walk around now is, "How you doing?" "Yeah, Groundhog Day."
Exactly.
What day is it again? No more woo-woo, it's Friday. Who cares?
Yeah, the other day I swore it was the 16th and it was Tuesday, and a friend of mine kept saying, "No, it's the 16th Wednesday." And I said, "No, it's Tuesday." "No, it's Wednesday."
Well, and of course we get the hurricane warnings and everything shuts down.
Right, and
because
that screws me all
you
up
think
because
there's a
when everything's
hurricane
shut
coming
down,
in. And
oh, is
is
it
it
the weekend? I don't know.
is it Sunday? Is it Monday? Thank God they've started. The NFL has started playing football games again. So I got an anchor. I got
Yeah.
a road mark there. Oh, it's Sunday. It must be Sunday. There's football games on. Or the Notre Dame is playing. LSU is playing. It must be Saturday. That's college
Must
football.
be
Okay.
Saturday.
Ooh, I got a marker here. Um, yeah, okay. I just wanted to touch base with you and talk about some of these things. Gayle, any other closing points? Oh, here comes the cloud again. Ooh. You see those shadows as they come across?
No.
Oh, I see. It's probably hitting me here, but the camera isn't picking up on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
No, I just I encourage everyone to, if they're looking for a great group to maybe join Ari's lunch. You can send just put something in the comments field if you're interested, and I'll let you know how to get a hold of the virtual lunch, or check Ari Kaplan's LinkedIn page. He's got it listed there every day, and you can get the URL there. And
okay.
it might help
So
you as far as solidifying a group
yeah,
that
yeah.
is good to be around. And like I
Good.
said, it's a great networking group, and maybe put some more work on your table if that's what you're looking for.
Yep.
So
Yep. So I'm going to close with something that Rocky and I do in our interviews.
okay.
It's become a tradition, but the last question we ask is always, if you could spend a day, not necessarily working, just spend a day having lunch, going to the museum, going to a concert with anybody in our profession, living or dead, who would that person be?
Oh, I thought you were going to say anybody, and I was going to say, well, Bruce Springsteen,
Well,
of
no,
course.
much like the interruption, I didn't think I had to ask that question of you. I already knew that.
Okay. In our
But Bruce, in case you are listening, you're number one on her hit parade. Okay?
living or dead,
In our profession, yes. A day, somebody to spend a day with.
that would be Browning.
Browning, yeah. And
Browning
it's
Marie.
amazing. It shows you the impact he had on our profession. I think
He
Rocky and
was
I,
he
we've
was so
interviewed.
kind to me, and so
Yeah,
he made me feel like I mattered in this business.
yeah,
That's what Browning Marion did for me, is
yeah,
he made me feel that I was a professional and should be treated as such, and was treated as such by him. And he just knew so much and had so many great stories, and he would be the one I would choose.
right. And well, it's amazing because I was about to say, it shows you how influential he was. Rocky and I tallied it the other day, and about 80% of the people we've interviewed said Browning.
Yeah.
Really, and we've talked to a pretty wide swath of people,
Yeah.
and he touched a lot of people, and people say what you said, that he was a mentor, he was a supporter, he always had something positive to say.
That's right.
He
That's
very
right.
rarely, the there was, of course, the famous open mic incident where he was heard to mutter, often wrong but never uncertain, about one of his co-speakers. But yeah, he was a very positive person, and it was always amazing to me because he and I were really polar opposites. He
Yeah, you
was
were. You
North
were.
Shore, upper crust Boston. I was South Shore, working class Irish Boston. Um, you know, Democrat, liberal versus. All I had to do to to get the steam coming out of his ears was say two words: Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
The steam would start to come out. but
Yeah, I miss
we
him.
but we never had an ill word for each other. We disagreed
Right.
about many things, but we never it never became demeaning or putting someone down. He was the sort of guy. He was the sort of lawyer who made me want to be a lawyer when I was a young man. And I'll use something that I know you love that I do all the time, which is make a sports analogy.
Oh, great.
Yeah, but the basketball great from the early days of the Boston Celtics, Bill Russell, was once asked about Larry Bird. How, what was Larry Bird like? And he paused for a second and said, he's a better person than he is a basketball player. And I thought, that's Browning. Browning was a better person than he was a lawyer, and he was a damn good lawyer.
And he was a damn good lawyer. He sure was.
Yeah. So with that,
With
you're gonna get me crying too. We'll sign off, and thanks, Gayle, for sharing your outlook with us.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, dear.
And,
and for those of you who don't know, he is my older brother. So
yes, that's right. I always introduce you. I forgot. I was remiss in not introducing my younger sister, Gayle. Although we had someone when we first moved here, I'll tell this quick story. The lady at the little local pharmacy who asked who you were one day. I don't know if you remember this, but she said to me, "Who's that bubbly blonde who comes in with you all the time?" I said, "Oh, that's my younger sister, Gayle." And then for months afterwards, "How's your sister doing?" "I haven't seen your sister for a while. Where's
That's
she at?"
your wife?
A year before I had the heart to tell her that I had deceived her. So. Gayle, thanks so much. Have a great weekend. And
thank you.
all of you folks, hope you're be well, stay safe, and we will see you next time in the eDiscovery channel.
Wear your mask and vote.